School's Nikki Metzger was chosen recently to represent New York State in the National Poetry Out Loud competition. We caught up with her, along with English teacher Karen Flynn.
This all began with 30,000 students in New York State in their classroom competitions. So, siphoning down to one student is pretty amazing honor for Nikki.
It's funny because it was in November when I heard on the morning show here at school that Miss Flynn was having, an after-school meeting for Poetry Out Loud. And I really just was like, okay, I'll go.
That spur-of-the-moment decision led to regional and statewide qualifiers and the National Poetry Out Loud competition.
So basically, to explain Poetry Out Loud, there's a bank of poems on a website that you have to choose from. One has to be pre-20th century, and then one has to be less than 25 lines. And you memorize the poem, and then you recite it. So there's no writing of your own poetry or anything, it's recitation.
The recitation can be approached as a performance, and it needs to be to some degree, but it can't be all performance.
We share an afternoon and morning, in between no next predictable except for wild reversal, rehearsal. So
there's level of difficulty that could range from the wording and things, things with different types of words are harder to say, things that don't flow easily, so that'll make something more difficult. Also the length definitely makes things more difficult just for memorization.
Evidence of understanding is one of the categories of judgment, and that has to shine through. And sometimes it's not all about who can act the most vivaciously, or it's not an acting competition.
They sleep who know a regulated place, or pulse or tide or changing sky, according to some universal stage direction.
So the Poli by George Herbert is the first one that I recite generally, and that's my 25 lines or fewer and pre-20th century. It's written in 1534 or something like that, a long time ago. I chose that because I just really liked the subject matter at a first glance. My second poem, which is In Memoriam Martin Luther King Jr. by June Jordan, I chose specifically because around the time that Miss Flynn had asked me to choose a poem, it was when the situation in Ferguson, Missouri was really blowing up. So I went on Poetry Out Loud and I specifically looked for African American authors, and I found June Jordan, who's very famous for her activist writings, and I really fell in love with that poem.
Bleach the black long lunging ritual of fright, insanity, and more deplorable abortion. More and more.
I thought it was really, really cool that especially Miss Flynn works to have this at Brighton High School, and it's a great honor to be able to participate. Thank you.
The more we can bring the humanities and this kind of competition, this kind of awareness in the public eye, the better, the more the better.
For more information about the National Poetry Out Loud competition, visit the district website at bcsd.org.